Derek Chauvin probably wouldn't have done that to a wealthy white guy. In essence, you're saying he did what he did in part because George Floyd was black, but yet George Floyd is dead because of Derek Chauvin's behavior, whether you think it's manslaughter or murder, beside the point. And you want somebody like that to be free?
I kind of disagree with you on Derek Chauvin. Like, from my point of view is, and I've watched the fall of Minneapolis, and I hated how the mayor and the attorney general there treated that police department and made them move out of that police department.
Okay, but hold on. Let's backtrack a little bit. Yeah. So you think Derek Chauvin should be pardoned? Do I have your opinion correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, what did the two autopsies, what was the cause of death?
Well, the cause of death because the autopsies changed. The coroner had to change them after pressure from the attorney general.
Okay, but what did the original two autopsies say the cause of death was?
Did it say asphyxiation?
Yes. Well, even worse. Yes, you're right, but it was homicide. So they did not say that George Floyd died from a fentanyl overdose. So with that being said, there is not one police station in the country that says it's okay to put your knee on somebody's neck for 8 or 9 minutes when they are handcuffed on their stomach with their hands behind their back and they're not resisting. Derek Chauvin did that. If Derek Chauvin did not do that, George Floyd would still be alive. That's number one. Number two, Derek Chauvin had a history. He did this with another African-American young man that was 17 or 18 years old. Number two. Number three, Derek Chauvin worked in a nightclub part-time. In that nightclub, there were employees that said he openly slurred and used the N-word. This was a guy that had a history of being a racist. This was the guy that abused his power. And this was a guy that should have never been allowed to be a police officer to begin with. We all saw that video with our own eyes. The man is on his stomach. His hands are behind his back. He's handcuffed. He's not going anywhere. While that is going on, George Floyd is begging and saying he cannot breathe. George Floyd is begging him. And Derek Chauvin doesn't blink an eye. We know what happened to George Floyd. The autopsies showed what happened to George Floyd. He did not die of a drug overdose. By the way, even if he did die of a drug overdose, Derek Chauvin still put his knee on his neck for 8 or 9 minutes, and that was not policy of the Minneapolis Police Department or any police department throughout the country. So I'm trying to understand, a jury of his peers found that he was convicted, guilty of murder. Why would you want somebody like that back out on the streets?
My point, I did think he did take it too far. He should have stopped when there's that nurse nearby who told him to stop. That was too far. However, if you look at the video, the problem I have with the video is how many times did they tell George Floyd to calm down, to sit down?
He was lying.
He never.
Let's focus on the 8 or 9 minutes where he was complying. The 8 or 9 most important minutes of that video, the last 9 minutes of George Floyd's life. Not what happened before. What happened when the knee was on the neck? Was he not complying? Was he trying to get away in the 8 or 9 minutes that Derek Chauvin's knee was on his neck? What was he doing?
I mean, no, because he was.
I agree.
Not in control.
Okay, I agree. So I agree with you. So he's not in control. His hands are behind his back. He's handcuffed. He's not trying to get anywhere. He's not resisting. That is why Derek Chauvin is a convicted murderer. And again, I repeat, because this is very important. Both autopsies showed the cause of death was homicide, asphyxiation. We all saw the video. So that's why it's sort of academic when you see what happened the prior moments before. We're talking about the 9 minutes. Derek Chauvin wasn't prosecuted because anything that happened before then. He was prosecuted for that 9 minutes for the knee on the neck. And I'm trying to understand, why do you want to die on this hill? Why do you want this guy to be pardoned? I'm just confused. Why would you be okay with that?
It's not I have a couple friends who are cops, and I've heard their perspectives, and I'm not saying every police officer is perfect, but I don't think when a police officer wakes up in the morning, the last thing they want to do is be on the news.
But hold on. He wasn't convicted of premeditated murder. That's irrelevant. That's not what we're talking about. If he was, then I would agree with you. I probably don't think that Derek Chauvin woke up in the morning and said, "Hey, I want to, end someone's life." I agree with you. Doesn't mean he's not a murderer. It doesn't mean that he's not he doesn't deserve to be a convicted murderer. So that's kind of irrelevant to this conversation because he wasn't convicted of premeditated murder. So I ask you again, what is your defense and why do you think this guy should be out on the streets? He's a convicted murderer.
I guess my defense is when I saw the documentary about the fall of Minneapolis and other police officers talking about how the chief of police actually lied and said that Chauvin did not follow protocol.
And was that proven in the courtroom? Because we can also quote 2,000 Mules because that was also labeled a documentary that claimed Donald Trump won the 2020 election. Sir, the point I'm trying to make is I don't look at documentaries to form my opinions because they're not proven in a court of law. With all due respect, it was proven in a court of law that Derek Chauvin murdered George Floyd. The jury had an opportunity to look at the evidence. Derek Chauvin had the opportunity to have a defense. It was proven that he murdered George Floyd. The autopsies, both of them, proven that he died of homicide, asphyxiation. Those are just the facts I'm giving you. These are facts. Like, why do you want somebody like that out on the streets? My friend, I'm trying to understand. I'm hearing you, but you're bringing up the premeditation part, which is irrelevant. He wasn't charged with that or convicted of that. Then you're bringing up what a few select cops that you spoke to might have said. They didn't hear or see all the evidence. And then, you're talking to me about things that, in my opinion, are not relevant to the case. That's all.
Well, I don't think he should be charged with homicide, but and in my opinion,
why not?
Still is that the coroner was pressured. It should be manslaughter, or at least lower it to manslaughter, accidental.
Okay, so if he got 10 years for manslaughter, would you still be okay with him being pardoned today?
I'd be fine with that. Yeah, because I don't think his intention was to.
Okay, but hear me out. Hear me out. What you're saying, because I'm trying to understand. You agree with me that if he got convicted of manslaughter, which you think he did, I think we agree on that, you wouldn't want a pardon, but you're okay with him being a free man today because he got convicted of a stronger crime and murder? You're not making sense. You're saying, okay, I
would want him to be pardoned even if he was convicted of manslaughter.
So you would?
Yeah.
You would want him pardoned?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I 150% disagree with you based on the evidence and based on everything that was shown in the case. And, let me ask you a question. Do you think all these right-wingers out there would be defending Derek Chauvin if Derek Chauvin was black and George Floyd was white?
No, because I think a lot of them now, especially the MAGA ones, are on the side of being prejudiced.
Do you think Derek Chauvin would have kept that knee on George Floyd's neck for 9 minutes if George Floyd was a white man wearing a suit and tie?
That's a good question. I don't think he would have done that had it been a rich.
Okay, I agree.
Man.
So okay, I appreciate you admitting that. So hear me out on this. Yeah. You're saying that Derek Chauvin treated a man differently because of the color of his skin. Because of that treatment, George Floyd is dead. And you're telling me you're okay with a former cop who treated somebody differently and killed a man in part because of the color of his skin, which, by the way, we agree, and you're okay with that guy being pardoned? Think about what you're saying, my friend.
Oh, you dug me into a hole there. You have
with all due respect, with all due respect, hold on. With all due respect, I didn't dig you into a hole. With respect, I think you dug yourself into a hole. On one aspect, you're agreeing with me, which I appreciate, that Derek Chauvin probably wouldn't have done that to a wealthy white guy. In essence, you're saying he did what he did in part because George Floyd was black, but yet George Floyd is dead because of Derek Chauvin's behavior, whether you think it's manslaughter or murder, beside the point, and you want somebody like that to be free? You're better than that, my friend.
All I'm saying is he was George Floyd was acting very erratically before that.
But hold on. Hold on. Acting erratically is not an excuse for what Derek Chauvin did. Now, if George Floyd had taken out a weapon or was trying to use deadly force, we are having a completely different conversation. George Floyd earlier on was resisting a little bit. The officers were never in danger. He might have been trying to get away. But I go back to what I said to you earlier in this conversation. That is irrelevant. All that is relevant is the 8 or 9 minutes where Derek Chauvin had the knee on George Floyd's neck. You have agreed with me that that was probably the cause of death. You agree with me that he probably did it in part because of the color of George Floyd's skin. You agree with me that you would have been okay with a manslaughter charge. So again, why would you want somebody who kills somebody in part because of the color of their skin, which is awful? By the way, I agree with you on that. And that's the guy you want to be pardoned, not people that are in jail right now for marijuana charges or people that are in jail right now for maybe a little bit of civil disobedience, or maybe people that are in jail right now for non-violent offenses. Maybe they've had some substance abuse issues. Those are the people that I think should be pardoned, not people like Derek Chauvin, who killed a man in part because he's black.
I mean, I see what you're saying. I want all those nonviolent offenders released.
Okay,
I mean,
so can we agree? Can we agree?
them in
We can agree to disagree a little bit. Can we come to a consensus? If you think Derek Chauvin was overcharged and overconvicted, I will respectfully disagree with you on that. However, can we not die on the hill that Derek Chauvin should be pardoned? Can we, at the end of this conversation, I hear with part of what you are saying. Can we come to a conclusion together that maybe Derek Chauvin shouldn't be on the list of people that should be pardoned? Can I get you to at least agree with me on that?
Oh, gosh. I love your show and I love your opinions most of the time, but I cannot.
Okay, that's fine.
Cannot. I'm sorry.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, fair enough.
Fair enough. You won this, and you won this debate. You're a better
I'm not trying to win. No, listen, sir. I'm not. I'm not trying. It's not a competition to me. I'm not trying to win it. And you sound like a really nice guy. I'm not trying to win a debate with you, right? I appreciate you saying that, but that's not my intention. My intention is just to try to understand where you're coming from. You admitted to me that Derek Chauvin is a racist for the most part, because you admitted to me that he treated George Floyd different because he's black, and that George Floyd would probably be alive today if he was white. That's bad enough. So you got a horrible cop, a racist cop who treats people differently because of the color of one's skin, and that's the guy you want to be pardoned. That's very difficult. But I do appreciate the conversation, and I appreciate your call. And I actually made that same case on the Pierce Morgan show the other day.